I am having a hard time seeing what you are seeing. Perhaps there are real forms behind the shadows on the cave wall.
But you can't take that on blind faith.
It's not that I haven't seen you turn common metals into gold, but until I understand the process...
You can't take it on blind faith.
I am bad with ignoring data. And with blind faith.
I get it.
I'm a lot like Taylor in my inability to accept things on blind faith, and I'm guessing you probably are as well. Now, this need to know isn't confined to one specific area of my life either. I want to understand anything that I believe is interesting or important as well as I possibly can. I don't like not knowing how things work or what they mean in a broader context, and this desire, this need to know, is probably born out of some innate or instinctual desire to mitigate and minimize risk at the lower level, that is, right? Now, not being able to accept people and their narratives, their stories on face value, really isn't socially advantageous, but what it will do is it will make it unlikely that you'll be easily bamboozled or led very far astray, which should also be important to us as well, in my opinion. Just as Taylor said, I'm bad at ignoring data, information. Even if I want something to be true, I can't ignore evidence to the contrary. Now, when I was a young man, the evidence that I was faced with was telling me that most people were clueless about most things and that a small number would try to deceive you and exploit your ignorance. So I reasoned that it was my responsibility to better understand myself and my world. Now, this viewpoint, this perspective made me skeptical by nurture, but I'm also analytical by nature. So I applied my analytical mind, my analytical nature, and my growing analytical skill set to acquiring better information whenever it presented itself. Now, I didn't do this with some intent, I should say, with sharing this on YouTube at some point in the future, or in articles, or in lectures, or in books, or on a blog, right? I was doing this purely from a selfishly motivated place. I merely wanted to more efficiently and effectively acquire things I wanted in this world and to reduce the negatives that I had to endure. To arrive at a solid understanding, we need to know how each level of thing is experienced on works, how each level interacts with the level above and below it, and how the entire thing relates to its own environment. We need to understand the process, as Taylor said, but only to a level, only to a degree sufficient for our needs in a given context. If our need is only to make use of a thing, we may not need to understand it that deeply, but if it's to determine the ultimate worth, meaning, and value of a thing, we should understand it as deeply as we possibly can. This is why I take important things down to a fundamental level, an essential level. If we get to a deeper understanding, we typically get to a deeper truth. And the thinking goes like this: if we understand something that is most fundamental, it's most essential, then the layers and levels of understanding built up on top of it are built up on a more solid foundation. We've effectively created stronger roots for the tree of knowledge growing above ground so that it won't be toppled by a hurricane of better data and better information, not easily toppled anyway. Now, this doesn't guarantee that we're going to have the right answer every time, but it does pretty much guarantee that we're going to have rational and reasoned thinking, typically. Admittedly, there are no heroes on Billions, although I have enjoyed Taylor's rational approach and willingness to question acts throughout season 3. But when it comes to things as important as our careers, understanding ourselves, our world, and coming to some conclusions about meaning and purpose in this world, we can't afford to even trust people like Axe, not blindly. It is our responsibility to come to this understanding, to these conclusions, and failing to do so in a thoughtful and careful manner will be done at our own peril, because the view that we hold, the understanding that we have, will be one of the biggest determining factors in how we experience life, how we move through this world. As always, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you already haven't done so. Hit the notification icon. I'm Lex Benjamin. I'll see you in the next video. You have a great day. Bye.